Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. And today we have a special video as also a special guest.
Hello everyone, this is Will's gamer friend. So hang on, what are we doing today? Is this the one we told off of your theory?
Yay! We have that. That's proprietary information. We got something else. The items.
Okay, it has to come. Yeah. Sorry guys. Yeah, so I hear you got big plans for us today. You know, you're going to be showing us something cool.
Yes, so in today's Back to Basics Plus video, I'm going to just talk about the enhancement items that, especially if you're relatively new to the game, that is from the complex dreams or even slightly before that, you might wonder about the enhancement items, their purpose, their value, and what to do with them. So first of all, I will just go over that and I will reveal a special plan that my friend and I are both doing, and we both have two different roads or paths to victory, so to speak. So without any further ado, let's go into the enhancement items. And so I don't know if you've gone into this menu before. Note these are the items that you get as, I won't say key items, but certainly special items that you pick up on your journeys, either through the main story, side episodes, and a lot of collab quests as well. So you'll see guiding light items, as well as luring shadow items. And there's one of each type for each weapon. So 8 different guiding light items for the 8 different weapons, and 8 different luring shadow items for 8 different weapons. Now, if you're wondering what you do with these, first of all, if you go into your unit menu, and in this case, I'm just going to use Nagi as an example, you can actually press on the plus button for the item, and you can press as many as you have held in your account and apply them as light or shadow bonuses, depending on what kind of unit it is. And for most people, the reason why we do this is at certain bonus levels, you can see that there's certain light or shadow requirement levels, you get extra stat bonuses. Now, for the most part, when you pull a first 5-star, you get a 16 shadow or light, so you get the first 2 bonuses naturally, and as you get more and more dupes, you can unlock more and more stats, which eventually make your unit extremely powerful. A lot of times what people are worried about, or what people are watching for, is the 80 light, 120 light, 200, and finally 255. And so quickly speaking, the 80 light, you do get 4 move slots, which is very useful in some cases, especially for units that have multiple moves and you want to carry them all. At 120, you now get to carry 2 badges instead of 1. Now, the reason that this is so powerful is if anyone even equips 1 badge, say a power badge on a DPS unit, an int badge on a mage, or anything like that, you now essentially double the power of that by putting 2 top-notch badges on there instead of 1. So not much to say there. You're just going to do more DPS, survive more, and so on and so forth. Finally, the 200 Grasta extension plus 1 should need no explaining. If you have 4 Grasta slots versus 3, that means at the very least 4 Pain and Poison Grasta. Make sure you check out my Back to Basics videos on Grasta setup if you have any questions about that. But at 4 Grasta slots over 3, you're doing a minimum of 30 to 40% more damage with enhancements and so on and so forth. And finally, for spenders and obviously whales as well, you can finally get to 255 mark, which increases all stats by 10. That means power, int, endurance, so blah, 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 blah. So you can get a lot of power out of doing that. All right, so back to the menu. So in terms of the value, these are actually not really replaceable. You only find them in certain cases. Now, as a free-to-play, you can only get it, like I said before, through grinding through story or side quests. You also can get them rarely when you run the PCD, aka White Gate Key. Sometimes you get a cat room where a bunch of cats swarm you. You get 20 cat stamps, and you can actually collect 3 random guiding light or luring shadow items. And so, pretty rare. So first of all, my advice to all relatively newcomers to the game, do not use these items right now. I would highly recommend holding them back until you find the appropriate unit to place these valuable items on, because the only other way, other than finding them through the first 2 ways, is essentially you have to have a 255 unit and then pull it again. So that usually only means heavy spenders can get to that level where they're going to have a 255 to start with, for example, and they pull another version of that, and they get that item, that 16 light or shadow, instead of applying to the max because it's already maxed out, you get 16 items of the appropriate unit. So for example, in the case of Nagi, if I had a 255 AS Nagi and I pulled another AS Nagi, I would get 16 Luring Shadow Axe items because that's exactly what she did. All right, so if you're wondering what the purpose of this video is, though, we are trying to, at least my friend and I have had some long discussions about what to do with these items, and we have what we would call next level planning, such that there is actually a possibility of a free-to-play, completely free-to-play player, such as my friend and I, to get a gacha unit to 255. So we're not talking like Aldo, we're not talking Clark, we're talking a gacha unit to 255. Sounds ridiculous, right? If it does sound ridiculous, well, we're going to share our thoughts and methods by which we're going to do that coming up. All right, so first of all, if you've noticed, and keep in mind, I haven't used many of these items, you'll notice that there's a big propensity towards large amounts of Guiding Light Sword. You can see I have over 100 of those, as well as Luring Shadow Staff. And I actually think that this is usually due to, obviously, the main stories in the game are Fene as well as Aldo, and so obviously those items can be used to augment and enhance your main story characters. Now, keep in mind that you can actually grind those through dungeons, and so, again, do not use them on units unless you're sure. And secondly, definitely do not use them on units you can grind it out. You'd rather use some time and some keys and slowly get to 255 with your Aldo rather than using items on these. Because keep in mind, I consider these items as valuable as pulling on Gacha. Remember, you cannot increase light or shadow stats on any Gacha unit unless you either use these items or pull a dupe. And so that's actually Chronostones that, let's be honest, short supply for free-to-plays.
I have a question. I thought you get these from the monthly thing in the trials, don't you?
Oh, yes, we do actually. And that leads us into how we're going to try to get our units to 255. So, again, I'll just bring up the records here. And for those who are new to the game, we actually do have a free trial that you can actually activate. I can show you an area where we can do that. But for those of us who are already familiar with that, there's a trial section here. Every month, calendar month, they unlock a bunch of different quests. If you pay for a subscription, there are two types, Guide of the Land and Guide of the Heavens. And I actually did discuss the merit of both of these in a previous video. They do unlock some extra bonuses. Most of them are just Chronostones. However, the ground or the trial Guide of the Land cheaper subscription does give you additional 5 light or shadow points once a month, and the Heavens gives you 5 plus 10, which is 15 per month. And they do double after 3 months, but let's not talk about that because we're actually talking in the context of a free-to-play account. Now, in terms of a free player, you actually do get a quest every month, which does get reset. So you can see the Trials of Cultivation here. As long as you complete it, you can collect your 5 shadow or light points, and you have to use it right away on one unit. And it does reset every month. So if you don't use it, goodbye your 5 points. Now, you might be wondering what you are who to put it on, because that's obviously another question, which leads us into our next part. So keep in mind that we did talk about, certain items being more valuable or more common than others. So obviously the Guiding Light Sword or Luring Shadow Staff. Now, in order to get a unit that's a gacha unit as a free-to-play to 255, you really have to look at 3 variables. First of all, you have to look at how many dupes you have pulled. And in my fortunate or unfortunate case, I've pulled a bunch of Nagi dupes such that I have 84 shadow through gacha. And I actually used this month's trial as a free player to get the 5 shadow on Nagi to get to 89. Okay, so now you can say, wow, Will, that's way far away from 255. I mean, we're talking like 160 odd points still. Now that's true. from here, we can actually use items to get us closer. And that leads us to our next point. Keep in mind that Nagi has 3 forms, everyone. Regular style, ES, as well as the ES extra style. And keep in mind that the ES version has a different weapon type than the normal or AS, right? Normal and AS both share the same, which is in this case, Axe Shadow. And ES will, in ES Nagi's case, be Shadow Staff. Now, do you see where we're going here? Keep in mind that I have 100 items of Nagi's, well, of Luring Shadow Staff, and I have another 30 odd items of Luring Shadow Hammer. And so, I mean, Axe. So you're talking 101, 33, we're talking 134, 134 plus 89, we're close to 220. Okay, so, Will, where are you going to get the other 40 from? So, remember that we did say that we get 5 every month as a free player, no matter whether or not we have a subscription or not. So, it would take us at 5 a month, 8 months to get to 255. So, something you have to keep in mind is, Will, is it worth it to wait 8 months for a gacha unit to get to 255 Shadow? There is a benefit to that. Keep in mind that units such as Nagi will be featured or have been featured in multiple banners. Now, in the case of Nagi in any form, Nagi's come out as her normal style. She's come out in a dedicated AS Nagi banner. She's been split banner with Milsha. And she's been split banner with Pichika. And finally, in her ES form, she is fully braid up. So we have 5 opportunities to have gotten Nagi either as a first timer, or in my case, well, 5 stars worth. And so in the future, Nagi, keep in mind that she is a main character in the 3,000 year arc, and she will probably be continued to be featured in future content. And so if that's the case, what that means is that if you can get her to 255, even if you feel that her unit value has dropped, if you hit her as an off-banner pull or as the wrong 50-50 call on the raid up. Let's just say that she's featured yet again with some super powerful new DPS gacha unit. Even if you hit her wrong, you will now convert that bad hit, so to speak, into more Luring Shadow items, which you now can apply to another gacha unit. So you're actually getting some value that way, as well as the fact that even if she's a little bit dated, at 255, her stats are going to be through the charts. And that's going to mean extra DPS, extra use, and so forth. Nagi ES has only been out for a month. So even if you're talking 6 to 8 months out for my case, still not bad. However, there is one other thing you've forgotten as well. Remember how I talked about the Guide of the Heaven and Guide of the Land subscription model? Note that if you're first time playing, well, if you've been playing and you haven't used it before, the first month of each of the trials are free. That is free, no money needed, no payment down, nothing like that. And so I haven't actually personally used my Guide of the Heavens or Land, and being that you get the benefit of 2 months worth of missions if you run it, like say halfway through, or like say I do it now and activate both. That means I got missions to earn up to 20 light or shadow on one unit. And then next month in February, I still have, today's the 13th in my country. So you still have another 2 weeks or so to earn another month's worth of missions, totaling almost 40 light or shadow. And guess what? If I activated this, subscription for free, I will have 255 right away. Okay, so that's our first example. And it's pretty crazy, and I realize that it's very unique because realistically you do need an ES unit so that you can benefit from using 2 different items on the same unit. Now that leads us to our second project, and this is where my friend comes in actually. So I'm going to just bring up the enhancement items again, and I'm going to let him talk at this point.
So in my case, I am also free to play, but unlike Gamer Dad here, I don't happen to have 80 Shadow and Nagi. How do you even get that if I get free to play? Anyways, I looked through the different dupes that I have because I can't go with the Nagi route. And what I noticed is that for my dupes, I've actually duped a good amount of Isuka actually. So I've actually hit her enough times where I've gotten 52 light on her already. So from like the past like I think 2 months or so, where we've been getting like the 5 per month, even though like you're doing the free trials, I've added her to 62. So I took a look at the wiki just to see like where all the sword and katana items. Oh, by the way, sorry for doing this. Shout out to the wiki guys. You guys do a lot of great work, and you guys help me out along the way. So
hey, help me as well. Otherwise, a lot of my video content, I do rely on the wiki for some guidance. And so thank you very much for the hard work you put in.
No, totally. You should go check it out because like that's where I got all these locations for like guiding light, sword, and katana that I've been missing on it. So for Isuka, she is a katana user. So far from what I collected, because I haven't used any of these, because I'll be honest, I don't know what to do. So I asked GamerDad here. So I currently have 29 for the katana light, and I have 91 of the katana sword as well too. So the reason why we're bringing up the sword, in case you're wondering, besides the fact that there is a lot of guiding light sword in this game, once again, a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm sure it's not a very it's pretty open secret at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
With the new story that are coming out in the Japan release, we are going to get very soon, as you can see in the upcoming content. Also, thank you to the wiki people.
Yes.
There's going to be an ES Isuka who will be using a sword. So we're gonna add the katana light to her, and once we get her other form, which will take me 3 to 6 months, but we got some time. once I get the ES Isuka, I can change her into the other form and start adding all the sword light to her. So if I add up from what I have from Isuka so far, plus the light and shadow, plus the light items that I have, the katana and the sword, I'm gonna be at 182. So I've looked at the wiki and it turns out that I am actually quite behind on my episodes and stuff. So if I actually played the rest of the game like I should, I should really catch up on this stuff.
Yeah, you should.
If I did the complex dream and I'll be honest, I didn't even touch it yet. So if I did that and finished the other episodes, I can add those ones back and I'll be at 218 total. And guess what? If we need to max it out at 255, and that will give me the 218, I'm only 37 away. So honestly, that's a couple months, or like GamerDad said earlier, that is 1 month of premium subscription, which will give me the 2 months of missions. So in that case, I would have made it. So we're done.
So as you can see, just as a review here, the three criteria that a free-to-play needs in order for a unit to convert to 255 is obviously you need some luck in hitting some dupes on a featured unit that you want. Second thing is you really need to look at items that you have a lot of. And like I said, those first two, the Guiding Light Sword and the Luring Shadow Staff, are primarily, the high level ones. Although, if you're lucky and hit some extra ones, I guess you could really do 255 another way. And keep in mind, we don't have the future plans for WFS. Who knows when different ESs come out? Like, I think my waifu is going to get an ES version, and she's supposed to be light hammer, and unfortunately there isn't a lot of light hammer items out there, and so unfortunately she will not be a candidate for 255. So those are three criteria. Now that's only for free to plays. Keep in mind that if you're a dolphin or a moderate spender, this structure is very different for you. I would expect that you would have more than one unit at level 80 shadow or light. You probably have a few of them, and some of them in 120 or even more. And I assume that because, if you're using Fatefuls, Star Dreams, and just, hitting some off-banner dupes, instead of, being a little bit sad about that, now you can consider either starting a subscription or continuing a subscription. Because the reason for that is, previous to this, when I first reviewed subscriptions in general, I felt that the fact that you got a free ticket, obviously, for the Heavens one, which is a 10 pull, and there's some other benefits with Chronostones, that's part of the benefit. But really, upon further review, having that extra guiding light over and over again, and keep in mind, if you spend real money and have 3 months of subscription, I believe the benefit doubles. So instead of having, say, 15 plus 5, which is for both Heaven and Land, you're going to have 30 plus 10, which is what, 40 a month? You can literally get, 255 in like 3 months, right, of spent money. And keep in mind that although a Star Dream is about 2/3 of the price of, at least in Canada, 2/3 of the price of the Heavens subscription. I believe a Heavens subscription is in Canada close to like $45 or $50, and a star dream is like $35 ish for 1,000 paid stones. You're paying 50% more. However, if you are using the plan such as this to get multiple units to 255, you're going to reap the benefits later on, because as you get more and more units to 255, not only can you use them in serious battles and start killing everything without much thought. Keep in mind that with the increased stats, you're going to take less damage. You might actually survive a hit that lower level units such as myself with only 16 light would die on. And if you hit it again, you'll have more items to spread around your units that haven't 255 yet. So the true value of the subscription is not only the free ticket, which is anyone can buy 1,000 paid stones that way, is getting that light and shadow into high levels such that if this is a route that you want to power up your account with, this is really what you can glean out of it. All right, so I think I've said most of what I said. Hopefully, leave some comments below if you had any specific questions about our plans, if you think we're full of it, or if you think these are definitely doable. And so keep in mind that my friend and I both, like I said, haven't used the free subscription model. We also haven't used items. And so if you've used some items, do not fret. Just save and hopefully apply some of these principles to start building your account to the next level.
Thanks for watching.
All right. We'll see you next time.